never just start this cold, damn it. My did toilets. My toilet was flooded.
Your toilet? That's the best thing you can come up with.
Oh shit. We went to Spirit Halloween today. I ate soup.
Oh my God. Yeah, I went to Spirit Halloween a couple weeks ago and spent like $100.
Well, I am Mason, amateur Halloween spender, and
And I'm Aubrey, professional Halloween debtor.
shit. They
Just kidding. I've never gone into debt for Halloween, but I have brought myself to a financial point that I probably shouldn't have been at by the Halloween season. But it's
yeah.
okay. I do it for the love of the spook, the love of the, actually the love of the spooky.
The love of the spooky, the love of the scary, the love of the bones, the love of just the scare of it all, you know? That's what we live for around here. And that's why it's also start of spooky season. Technically this is actually the 30th last day of September that we're recording this, but it doesn't matter because I've been to Spirit Halloween, and thus it is now spooky season.
I don't know about the rest of everyone here, but it's been spooky season for me for quite a while. Um, I went towards the beginning of September to Spirit Halloween, and it was an enjoyable time.
You've
It was a
you
good time.
you passed your Spirit Halloween threshold. Did you walk through that little tunnel that they put in the middle right when you enter to like show off all of their animatronic decorations?
Oh, of course. And I will say, you know what animatronic got me the best this year? I thought was the best one personally.
Which one was it? Barry?
Uh, no, it was the monkey, the symbol monkey.
There was a
I
symbol
have,
monkey.
oh my gosh, she was to the side, so maybe you didn't see. Well, maybe you didn't go to the same one.
It's possible. It's very possible. There are many propped up in this KC
Yeah.
area.
Um, it's one of those big, the symbol monkey that's really creepy, but they made him look even
Yeah,
creepier,
of
and
course.
he's like 4 or 5 feet tall and huge. And I saw him, and I was like, well, I gotta go press the button because this is honestly the most impressive one. The Exorcist Reagan animatronic is extremely disappointing, and I'm not even an
What?
Exorcist fan.
There's a Reagan one? What? That's so strange.
Hmm.
We definitely went to different stores this year, Aubrey. That's for sure. There was no there was I did not see a single bit of political humor at the Spirit Halloween this year, actually.
I did not either, and I'll take that. I did see a lot of cultural appropriation, but I feel like that's
That is an every year
so
thing.
hard to get rid of it all. Yeah,
That will not
uh,
change, sadly. Not in this country.
I will say something, while I do love Spirit Halloween, something that really bothered me is that they sell tarot cards, and I saw somebody review them, and it was so bad. It's just bad. Don't do it.
Aw. Yeah,
Um,
I did also see the tarot card section, and I will report there is some cool looking things, but it's specifically all of the Empress and the Death card only.
Yeah,
And I
I
don't know
did buy
what's up
like a
with
little
that.
box for my tarot cards because there's one that was like perfectly shaped for it, and I was like, I do love this, but I don't love that you're selling actual tarot cards with the Spirit Halloween like they're from their brand. So like that's
For the
not very authentic, if I do say so myself, as a
Yeah,
tarot card user.
that's some real consumer culture. Living. That's a real consumer culture banger right there, as the young ones say. As the people who have not seen the sun rise and fall 13 million times like me thusly. Um, that's what they say. And I can't say that that's my vibe. So I gotta agree. I mean, Spirit Halloween is at the center of the rest of it. I mean, did you know they were owned by Spencer's? Did you know that?
Yeah. Yeah, I
I think
actually
you were literally.
informed you of that fact like 30 minutes ago.
Well, you didn't say it on the podcast, so here it is again,
So it
fucker.
doesn't count.
Yeah, exactly. I only commit this show to my memory and nothing else. Why do you think I'm always asking you to record, Aubrey?
Not fair. It's the only thing you'll remember.
Yeah, that's it. That's all. So to get us started, I thought I would go with a pretty traditional podcasty style spooky natured topic. But I didn't pick a movie. Today, for the people who've been watching the video already know exactly what I'm going to be talking about because I've had this window open the whole time. But I'm going to be talking about what happens on the mountaintops. I'm talking about the dangers of high altitude. Because I'll tell you what, Aubrey, we may live on this planet, and this planet may be the one place where we survive and live properly and be able to cultivate our lives. But guess what? Not every part of this world caters to us. Um, the mountaintops, they're dangerous. They're much more dangerous for the sake of than just gravity. Um, I feel like when you think of a high space, what really comes to mind is the fear of heights before most other things. But I have been doing some actual paper writing research this week, and I have found out that that is honestly one of it's pretty low on the list now for me. Pretty low on that list. Um, have you ever been to a high place, Aubrey? Ever?
Not like a dangerously high place, like where breathing is hard, other than maybe the state of Colorado. I do get
Hmm.
altitude sickness anytime I go, but it's
Oh
absolutely worth
boy.
it. Just get you one of them cans of oxygen, you're good to go.
You can just
Um,
buy cans of oxygen now. The
yeah. Oh,
Lorax
well,
is real.
no, you can buy, you've always been able to buy cans of oxygen in Colorado and high altitude places because it helps with altitude sickness because you're not getting as much oxygen, and that's what the problem is.
Oh,
So,
trust me, Aubrey, do I know that at this moment.
yeah,
That was
that is in fact the topic of what we're discussing.
exactly because today I'm going to be talking about altitude sickness. First off, it's called AMS, and it is specifically relating to raising an altitude too quickly, all at once.
Oh, so like, is that related to what happens when you're underwater?
Um,
Or is that
it
a separate issue that's similar?
it is a separate issue that is similar, and I know where your head's at. Because whenever you get too deep in water, or in like you raise up too fast, the pressure change, your body does not keep up with it, and like it like implode if you like come
Yeah.
up from the ocean too quickly. Um, but this is different in the way that this would normally just kill you outright anyway, just being that high up. But we as humans are able to adapt over the course of time if we allow ourselves. So this is actually more less of a scary topic and more of a cool thing about humans and what we can do. Um,
Hmm.
so I in this research I did, I think it was a Washington Post because of course it was a Washington Post of some sort. Um, but apparently, if you were to be instantly teleported to the top of Mount Everest, um, you you would not it just would not happen. You would be
It would not
suffocating.
happen. You
You'd be suffocating, gasping for air, and probably dying within seconds. Um,
wow.
just like that immediate jump, because we go from say like the elevation of 1 to the elevation of 8,000. What is it? Around 8,848 meters. It's very high up. I mean, it's the tallest place on Earth. But one thing that I have been researching though is like the preparation time that people go through to get up Mount Everest. I learned a lot about it, and turns out Fern already knew a lot too. So I got some information from him. But from what I have learned, it takes 1 month to prepare your body on that route up Everest. And that is why that trek actually takes so long. It's not because of how hard it is to climb the tallest mountain in the world. It's because you need to give your body a month's worth of time
Yeah.
to be able to breathe up there and survive for like an hour, I think.
Oh, absolutely.
Um, so like a lot of the time you spend is like going back and forth. Like you get up to like a certain staying point that's lower, and you like just stay there for a certain amount of time to train your body. I think it actually. Um, do I have it written down anywhere? I actually don't. Dang. Okay, I guess I found it so interesting. I was just listening at the time, but to paraphrase, you there is there's actually a I think it's like a notch in your spine. Actually, it's pretty close to your brain. Oh, it's your diaphragm, maybe. That actually intakes and notices the difference in pressure, and it sends a signal to your brain to like breathe deeper and focus more about like it kind of like senses that you are getting less oxygen from your breath, so your body unconsciously will start to change your method of breathing to increase it back to a normal level. um, and it can do this and change you in like a pretty major way over the course of time. But it takes time. It is not something it can instantly transition to, although it will always try, which I find interesting. um
Yeah, that it will try even though it's gonna fail.
yeah. um it's just something we're kind of built with. And actually, people that live in places like Nepal or probably Colorado even at this point too, um there are different like what do you call it, like um communities of people that have actually that live up in these mountains. Like their children are being, over the course of years and years and years, like children have been passed down a gene for being able to breathe better at lower altitudes, higher altitudes, lower oxygen levels. um to the point where like they don't they can kind of just like come and go up and down, and they can breathe like we do at their highest highs, um similar to how we would just be at sea level.
Wow.
And I think it's probably the worst way it's ever been parsed, but I just find it very interesting. I like that you physically can see like people so strongly adapting to their environments to the point that like their bodies have they're almost like different. They've got different lungs. They literally are built different, Aubrey.
Interesting.
Do you want to hear something really cool that happens to your body if you were teleported up to the top of Mount Everest?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely.
um
That's what we're here for, isn't it?
the pressure difference would be so strong that your it literally is like there is more pressure outside of the in the world than, oh wait, no, there's more pressure inside of your body than there is outside in the air, that you have to physically work to pull the air into your body. um
Damn.
a very gross tidbit, that pressure difference fucks with your vessels, and it actually makes your veins loose.
Oh no.
Your veins become loose and fluid leaks out of them.
Oh God.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy, right? Um, Want to know another cool thing that happens though? Another like in a cool adaptive feature. Um, your platelet, blood cell, and plasma ratio changes to adapt.
Okay.
Your body like produces much less plasma whenever you are acclimated to high altitudes.
Interesting.
It's to I think it's so there's a higher ratio of blood cells, so more oxygen is transferred with each pump.
Oh. Oh. Why'd
I,
you have to say it like
I
that?
don't know. That's just how I said it. Pump. Really getting in my
Damn.
plosives today. That's gonna be fun to edit.
Yeah.
It's for practice. It's for school. Okay. So needless to say, it's scary. Shit happens. It's not. Don't do it. Don't go up. Don't put a teleporter on the top of Mount Everest and hop inside, because you might win the speed run for fastest Everest climb in this entire Earth, but you would also die promptly.
Yeah.
Um,
Very promptly.
but this is not. This isn't the only thing I have to bring today, though. I also have a bit of a story to go along with it.
Oh yeah.
Aubrey, have you heard anything about the Dyaslav Pass incident?
The what?
Um, the Dyaslav Pass incident. I don't know if I'm saying it right, but it sounds like you haven't. Um,
No.
there is a low. I don't know if I'd call it that. There is a very harrowing story from a long time ago. 1959 to be exact. And it's about a bunch of hikers that died in a very strange way. Would you like to know more?
Absolutely.
Um,
Tell me.
so I guess I might just pull it straight, like read it straight from this wiki page here, because there's a lot of great information written here. Okay, this incident took place. It took place in an event. I'm just gonna assume that that's not the case. There were nine people in Russia trekking up this hill down. I believe they were in the northern Ural Mountains in 1959 under very, very inclement weather. They were very experienced hikers, and I believe they were actually military men. So like, it's very surprising that they managed to die out and in their camp, being trained and all. But on top of it, they had a very I don't know, like it they some of the bodies seems to have died in very odd circumstances, in very unexplainable ways. Um,
Okay.
First off, it took a week for them to be found up in these mountains, so it's actually really hard to tell exactly what had happened. But I will just read some of this here. Okay. After the bodies were discovered, an investigation by Soviet authorities determined that 6 of them had died from hypothermia, while the other 3 had been killed by physical trauma. One victim had
What?
major skull damage, 2 had several chest traumas, and another had a small crack in his skull. 4 of the bodies were found lying in a running creek of water. 3 had damaged soft tissue, probably most likely from the cold, but there was some of them had missing eyes, a missing tongue, and missing eyebrows.
No.
The investigating conclusion that a compelling natural force had caused the deaths, but many, many, many theories have been made about this. The most popular theory currently running is that the severe, harsh nature of the hypothermia they were experiencing actually potentially caused them to go mad and fight each other to the death.
That's what I was wondering, is I was like, I wonder if they went crazy because
Um,
of this.
there is potential for it because it is like some of the very specific things that happen to these people, like it just doesn't sound like an avalanche.
Yeah.
Also, the tent had been scraped out from the inside, which was pretty suspicious as well as a
Oh,
lot of them being disrobed as well. I believe it doesn't mention this in the wiki article here, but where I had read elsewhere that they were almost completely naked on
my
top of it.
God.
But that is honestly much more explainable by the hypothermia paradox, which is that whenever you get insanely cold, you actually get really hot. Like whenever you're really close to dying from the cold, you get really, really, really warm and start sweating.
Yeah.
So it's possible they had disrobed for that reason, but it's kind of crazy.
Oh, absolutely
One
crazy.
of the few very, very I want to say one of the more talked about unexplainable deaths from my understanding. Um, but they're actually, I guess I can't talk about this without mentioning that they did open up like a new investigation for this in 2019. And they they ran like an avalanche simulation and the new reasoning is that it was a slab avalanche, which is an avalanche that has a bunch of frozen ice in it, I guess. And they
Okay.
think that they got like pelted by giant slabs of ice that like caused that damage. But you know, no, it was based off of of an avalanche simulation. So take it as you will.
Well, I mean, we are smarter now. Like, I'll give us that.
Yeah. Um,
And we
but
have been wrong about a lot of things like that in the past.
we have we have been. But, I what matters now is not how they died, but that the place is still named after them and they have a whole website dedicated to them now. And they will
Absolutely.
exist on the internet forever, I guess.
I
These
guess.
dead Soviet men. Oh, I'm scrolling too far. I don't know if I want to show that on a podcast. I'm gonna close that.
Nope.
It's spooky season, guys. You knew what you were here for.
Absolutely.
Um,
Or at
so
least we
there's
hope you did.
there was also a movie named Devil's Pass, made after this. And I believe there was also a video game, but I don't have that pulled up right now. Regardless, though, I believe that the buzzer is playing right now, and that the producer is telling me that I have taken up too much of the podcast with my bit, so I may have to save that for some other time.
All
But
right.
yeah,
Well, then,
that's being high up and cold. It's pretty spooky.
probably not something I would ever want to be personally.
High up and cold.
Yeah.
What about low down
Hi?
and
Sure.
warm?
Hmm.
Ah,
Potentially.
okay. Well, I'll write that down, and I'll maybe that'll be next week's topic is being low and warm. How about that?
Oh, absolutely.
Low,
Here's here's hoping.
warm. Done. Okay. Uh, so ad break.
Yeah, we'll be right back after this ad.
Yeah, done. We don't actually have to stop. That'll just be a good moment for me to cut.
Yeah.
Do you want to take a short break, or are you good to keep going?
I think I am good to keep going.
All right, me
I'll
too.
take my dab after this. Just power
Okay.
through it.
Power through, power through. Oh, we have regained power and strength and are ready to continue. Hello. I'm back.
Hello, hello, hello.
You got a stream up now. Ooh, Aubrey's got a stream. I want to see the
Yeah.
stream.
I just figured I'd bring this up because there are some visual pictures to go along with things. And it is worth looking at.
Okay, well, it's better than our Discord pictures.
Fun, interesting thing about this topic, I can't remember if I have been here or if it's a fever dream. But I'm pretty sure I went here when I was a
Ooh.
little kid, like with my parents visiting some relatives out in California.
A spooky place you don't
Um,
even have good memories of.
no, I
Perfect.
mean I had interesting memories. That's why I'm like, I think I have been here, but I can't say for certain. I don't want to lie
But it's all
to the
hazy.
viewers. Yeah.
Do you think our viewers have fucking camera evidence of everywhere that we've ever been?
Well, you never know.
I
I
know
don't
at
want my
least one
mom
of
to
them
dispute
does.
me.
It, it's someone, one of them does, but
Oh,
I,
absolutely.
I don't know if they're going to be the one of the ones to reach out, so I think you'll be fine.
So, I want to talk about the Winchester Mystery House,
Okay.
which is this insanely huge mansion essentially that was constructed from 1886 to 1922. And it is like considered like a spooky, like spooky rich person gone crazy kind of story.
Okay. I get you.
That's what makes it so spooky, I guess. And also
I
like the house doesn't make a lot of sense, but we'll get into that. Um
I'm looking at the image and I'm kind of already noticing that looking at all of the different angles that the roof shoots off in. I'm a little unsure what I'm looking at right now.
yeah, so here are some structural facts about this mansion. It is 2400 square or 24,000 square feet.
Oh man.
Has 10,000 windows. It has 2,000 doors.
Oh my
It
god.
has 160 rooms,
Fuck.
52 skylights, 47 stairways and fireplaces,
Huh.
17 chimneys, 13 bathrooms, and 16 kitchens. It was built at a price tag of about $5 million in 1923, or about $71 million today. And I'm getting some of this information just straight off the Winchester Mystery House's website because it is now run as essentially like a tourist attraction and museum.
Weird. It
Um,
says that the construction seemingly never finished.
yes,
I
it was
see.
basically always under construction. And so that brings us to Ms. Sarah Winchester.
Oh my.
Um,
Hello, Sarah.
she was born in New Haven, Connecticut in 1839 and married a William Wirt Winchester in 1862. Uh, Aside from a bunch of sad things that happened in her life, including her child dying and
The
her
baby did
oldest
not
sister
thrive.
dying. Yeah, I love how it goes, the baby did not thrive. It died. Yeah, no shit if it died. Duh. Um, Basically, they eventually moved to California, at the age of 46.
As you do.
And it was, I guess, at her doctor's recommendation because she had happy memories traveling there with her husband.
Oh.
Um, and eventually in 1886, she remarried, and that's when she got the San Jose house, which is the now Winchester Mystery Mansion.
I see.
The fascinating thing about this mansion is Winchester herself and like designed most of the rooms, which not only was that unheard of for the time, like women didn't really do that shit,
Fuck
but
yeah,
like
good for
she
her.
was really involved, but she was also extremely like finicky about how she wanted things and once like she would do it one room at a time and once something would be built, she would be like, I don't like this, let's redo it. Um
Damn. I
I saw
see.
somewhere where they had said one of the towers. Yeah, in the San Jose News of 1897, it was reported that a seven-story tower was torn down and rebuilt 16 times.
Oh my god.
And like, you know how I mentioned there's so many fucking windows? Well, that's because of these expansions. They just walled off exterior windows and doors and didn't remove them when the house grew because they were too busy working on other things. Um, the
So
house's design is also interesting because it's not one style throughout. Like there's elements of Victorian, Gothic, Romanesque, like a lot of
oh,
interesting features. Um,
this is like an MC Escher house, huh?
yeah, and so we're looking on the just the Wikipedia page right now, but there's some beautiful, gorgeous stained glass.
I love the spiderweb
There
glass.
it's like Tiffany and Co. glass.
Yeah, it really is.
Uh, there was also a lot of glass windows that were purchased and never installed, and they just like found them in a storage room. But there's also like there's a lot of things like it seems like this house just like there's been mystery after mystery uncovered. Like at one point, I don't know, I can't remember the year. It might have been around the 80s or something. They found another like mystery storage room that had like a Victorian couch and paintings and some other furniture in it.
Ooh, the sexy hidden
So
room.
like I still to this day I wonder if we have even seen
Everything inside of it.
everything. Yeah. Um Let us see. So obviously it's a tourist attraction now. Um, when Sarah Winchester died, she left everything to her niece, who was like her personal secretary towards the end of her life, except for she never mentioned the house,
Huh?
which is wild. Not mentioning the house in your will at all is a little weird to me. Um, so it was sold, I think, by the bank, and it didn't sell for that much. Um, A group of
Interesting.
investors purchased the property, subsequently leasing the house to John and Mame Brown, who turned it into an attraction and then purchased the house in 1931.
Aw,
There were many room additions and deletions made to the home after Winchester's death. The
that's
first
lame.
tour guide was Mame Brown herself. Well, I think they probably had to just to make it accessible for people to get around it easier. Because the house, from what I remember, is quite a maze. So,
Labyrinthian, as if you will.
yeah. Um, I guess people got mad at the Browns because they thought they were making money off falsehoods, like when they read about these superstitious claims being made. Um, a lot of the people that knew Sarah said that she was as clear-headed and savvier with finances about business than most men. So
Nice.
I don't know how much of what we say about this house is true. But we do have quite a bit of rumors, myths, and rebuttals, so much so that that's its whole own section at the end of the Wikipedia.
Oh
Um,
boy.
so basically there were claims of Sarah Winchester inheriting as much as 20 million and earning $1,000 a day in royalties from her inheritance. And that can be found in tourist literature in the actual home. Uh,
Hmm. Yeah, I saw that there was some like Shakespeare quotes that were chiseled into the building that they listed on the
well,
wiki page or higher up.
her first husband, you'll remember his last name was Winchester, and they, had a huge stake in Winchester Repeating Arms Company. So that I do think there is some, yeah, obviously she had to have inherited a lot of that money after her husband's death. Uh, and she would have only inherited it after her mother-in-law died, which was not until 1898. Um, and wasn't as much as people thought. Sorry, one second, let me. Oh, yes. So there were also a lot of a lot of stuff about moving to California was weird. A lot of people thought that maybe she was like haunted by the guilt of ghosts of people killed by Winchester rifles.
Oh.
She's got to construct a house for the ghosts and then never complete the project. Like, I believe, yeah, there's one book says that a medium, she had a medium visit the house, and the medium said that that's what was happening. Um, but I don't believe that we don't have any confirmation that she actually did meet with a medium, but I do think that is a very fun story. You own a gun company and you're haunted by the people who've been killed by those guns.
You know,
What a fitting
if
punishment.
I mean, it would be easy to feel guilt if you, especially if you married into something like that.
Mm. There were also people who thought that the reason that construction on the house never stopped is because Sarah Winchester was afraid that when her house was complete, she would die. Like,
Oof.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, my house will also kill me when it's finished. It's because I live in the monster house, though.
Obviously then immediately like they reported that that's nonsense.
You
Sarah's a
know,
sensible woman, totally not true, but I just think it's funny like gossip columns were savage back in the day too, apparently.
yeah. But it's like the monster house from the movie The Monster House. That's the house that I live in. There's like a giant lamp in the front room that looks like a uvula.
The
You've walked
I'm
past it.
assuming Oh, yeah. I'm assuming a lot of these things were made up by the people who turned it into a tourist attraction because it's like lore states that the bell tower was rung to summon spirits when it was actually used to call workmen and serve as a fire alarm.
Nice.
Winchester held parties for spirits in her home, apparently offering them lavish dishes served on gold plates kept in her safe. However, after her death, when the safe was opened, no gold plates were found, only personal mementos and a lock of her baby's hair. Oh, that's depressing.
That's
Gold
specific and
plates and
depressing.
ghosts were way more fun. Supposed ghostly music has been reported coming from the house at night when was probably just Winchester playing the pump organ in the grand ballroom when she was unable to sleep.
Ah, I
Um,
see.
Gun guilt, yeah, at the turn of the 20th century, and the most common belief that still persists is that it was because she felt tremendous guilt from all the deaths caused by Winchester rifles and from inheriting so much money from the arms company, both of which we know to be kind of false.
Oof.
Um, yeah, it's very unlikely that she would feel guilt either because it was really successful and weapons were considered a necessity at that time. I don't think we had as many
Yeah,
issues.
it was American Revolution time-ish, right?
Yeah.
Guns were kind of like what got us out of the clutches of the British Empire then, so I get it.
Yeah. What really helped fuel all these rumors too is like she had health issues after 1900, like arthritis, missing teeth, neuritis, and she became really private and reclusive, as most people do in those situations. And because she became really reclusive, that made everyone kind of gossip and feel these rumors that, oh, she's superstitious and she's weird. And like her companion of many years is like, that's literally not true. um, there are a lot of modern references to the Winchester's apparent love of the number 13, like the chandeliers hold 13 candles, there's 13 ballrooms, 13 windows, 13 ceiling panels, 13 coat hooks in the home. However, those items were added to the home after her death, and the first mention of her apparent love was of 13 was recorded in 1929, 7 years after her death.
That
Um,
interesting. There's some
She
shit.
also allegedly declined to host two different US presidents.
Yeah, I
Both
was reading
William
that.
McKinney and Teddy Roosevelt visited the area, but the legend states that Winchester would not open a locked gate to let the president in. This was not true, as the president had no interest in meeting Winchester, as stopping at the home could have been used to promote rifle sales. He did not want to be seen as endorsing product, despite there being plausible reasons for her not hosting the presidents. These feathered rumors that she was not of sound mind and was a crank.
Whoa, Aubrey. How dare you say that? But it looks specifically that was President Theodore Roosevelt, but then the president beforehand, McKinley, William McKinley, he
Yeah,
literally drove past and was not let in. One of them was
Well,
like,
they drove past without stopping because she did not extend an invitation. Like, I think it was ahead of time they knew.
ah,
One thing I will say that I do think is true is a lot of the staff that work there now, have described like feelings of being watched, cold spots, footsteps, cooking smells, odd sounds, whispering, doors and windows slamming on common occurrences. They could have just been from suggestions, but I kind of think that Sarah Winchester is haunting them for making her house a spectacle. That's what I think.
yeah,
Granted, it is an old house, so doors and windows slamming is very common. Cold spots, odd sounds, all common. But at the same time, I think Sarah is
but if
and
Sarah Winchester died in a fiery passion in this weird labyrinthian home that she built for herself, then
with
I think that she's haunting the place.
well, a thing that I thought was odd is there's like staircases in this home that go to nowhere as well, and that's like my most vivid memory is a staircase going to nowhere.
Huh. Maybe
Um,
maybe she liked the aesthetic of a staircase being in a room, but didn't care about it actually going to anything.
so the Winchester Mystery House has been used a lot in pop culture, not just like with movies being about Winchester. Like there's one featuring Helen Mirren that's really notable. Um, but fun fact, 13 Ghosts, which we've talked about on the
Oh
podcast because we
shit!
love that movie.
Fuck
Oh, wait.
yeah!
No, this is
13
a different
Ghosts.
13 Ghosts. This is the
No.
1960s version. That's even
Oh,
crazier.
nice.
They used part of the house to film that movie.
Oh,
It's
they
on the
did?
front of a California group rock album group. And did you know the tale of the Winchester Mystery House was the inspiration for the Haunted Mansion Disney ride, which first opened up in 1969 in California. And
Nice.
fun fact, that is one of my favorite rides in Disney in both parks.
Yeah.
It's just got a good childhood nostalgia for me. I've always loved it.
Oh, Stephen King wrote a book after her.
Oh wow.
Rose Red.
Interesting.
Click on
Yeah,
that
I've seen
link.
down here, in 2016 and 2018, the Winchester Mystery House was featured in BuzzFeed Unsolved,
Okay,
and they
well,
and people stayed in the house overnight.
that's cool for BuzzFeed, but Aubrey, I'm gonna need you to click on that Rose Red link. Yeah, look at that.
The mini series.
It's a mini series. It's a television series. I didn't know Stephen King wrote television series.
It
Yeah,
is
he.
a loose remake of The Haunting, which is based on The Haunting of Hill House.
Oh shit! But like the book of Haunting of Hill House. It must have been because the Haunting of Hill House
Yeah.
show is much more recent. So are
Oh, no,
you
yeah. The Haunting is 1963 and the 1959 novel, The Haunting of Hill House. Yeah.
so are you telling me that they this lady made a house that was so wacky that someone wrote a book about it?
Not even about it. Like it's just been used as inspiration in so many things. Just so many.
Well,
Um
someone wrote a book in inspiration of it, and then Stephen King made a show about that book, about that about that house, and then Netflix, fucking 100 years later, was like, "Yo, what if we make a show about that show about that book about that house?"
I mean,
And
yeah,
then
when you put it like that,
they
exactly
made
that.
two more.
Yeah.
Bly Manor is really good. That's actually more of a Mike Flanagan thing than a Netflix thing, but that's
Is that the one you all were watching?
yes. More recently, we were watching Bly Manor. It's the gay one. It's a good. Well, I don't think it's a good one
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
strictly because it's a gay one, but it's pretty good. Yeah,
But it does make it better.
yeah, it does. It does.
Um Well, we will be back next week or shortly soon with another episode of the pod, and we're hoping to get into some spooky movies.
Yeah, it's time.
Um,
This is your little run up you get. Don't expect a gobble from this fucker. Don't expect anything other than spooky. You were here last year. You know what's happening. This is a multi-month excursion, and I hope you're ready, because I'm ready to churn out some content for you guys. I'm ready.
Absolutely.
I'm
As
pumped.
am I.
Anyway, um, don't, don't, don't live on Mount Everest, and
And don't
well,
spend your entire life building your house, room at a
because
time, because
you're
that's a bad way to build your house.
you will have so many incongruencies in your floor levels.
Oh, absolutely.
And
It'll be bad.
not to mention the gout.